Yu-Gi-Oh is literally in shambles right now. There is so many problems that I think will challenge the integrity of the card game. And to be honest, I think Konami just might be finally losing it. Today, I'm going to be talking about everything in between, about the new drama that's going in. Let's go ahead and jump on in. All right, guys, I really wish that was like clickbait, but I have some genuine concerns for the Yu-Gi-Oh card game, and it's because of how things are headed when it comes to quite a few things. So let's go ahead and break them down one by one. Of course, as you already know, chat is here with me, and they're going to be giving you their thoughts and everything in between, and giving a little bit of contrast on some of the things that I may say. I think it really all started with how this YCS or this Yu-Gi-Oh season has been. Historically, at the beginning of Yu-Gi-Oh, we get events in both America, and we also get YCS events, which is high-level championship events, in Europe. I have genuinely been concerned for our people in Europe because as to date, they have not received a single YCS, whereas we are going towards the first quarter of the month, and normally they'd have at least 2. Have you? Have you guys noticed that? I'm not tripping, right? Not a single one. Honestly, UK Yu-Gi-Oh is only locals right now. It's going super quiet. Oh, this can't be good for the Yu-Gi-Oh card game, guys. Seriously, the last YCS we did have was last year in YCS Dortmund in October, but it's literally been 5 months since we've had any announcement or anything about Europe. This is really bad. Isn't there only one comp player from the UK that does anything at YCS level? I'm sick. Stop, don't say that. European Yu-Gi-Oh players are actually insane. I know that some people may consider that American YCSs or bust, but there are a ton of great European Yu-Gi-Oh players that deserve to have way more events. Maybe it's good there's no YCSs in Europe given the meta. Yeah, they have a few opens coming up in the EU, but no YCS in sight. Now, I do think that it's incredibly interesting that Konami hasn't had a YCS announcement in Europe so far, but it might be just for good reason. I've talked to my boys across the pond, I think I said that correctly, and they have told me that it is incredibly expensive right now to get a huge event going. From what I hear, it is a genuine problem to host an event in UK because most venues are packed or ridiculously expensive. Europeans don't put their venues in the hood, and that might contribute to that. YCS Las Vegas, y'all may not have noticed, but y'all was literally in the middle of the ghetto. It was down bad. YCS LA is normally in the hood. Pasadena, you're in the hood of Pasadena. Bring back YCS Memphis. Bro, I remember YCS Chicago. I knew I wasn't going yet. On Phone Them Grave, I wasn't going. Or possibly save funds for Worlds to be in EU since it would be a big event. We actually got to talk about that in a second. It could be possibly because of the climate that we're in and things getting more expensive that Konami has just decided to drop YCSs in Europe, which is a huge loss for Europeans if that is true. I think all signs are pointing towards that because there's only been opens and no YCS announcements. That could be the least problem in this video and can actually be pointing to something much darker. I think Konami saving money where it's cost effective is smart because I know YCSs are not cheap. And to be honest, I'm pretty sure they don't even pay for themselves. When you think about it, guys, you spend roughly what, $25 in the US? And with that $25, you already get 5 packs. Then Konami has to play the staff, the room, the hotels, everything else in between. There is no way you can convince me that YCSs are profitable in any way, shape, or form. They're just public advertisement, but that leads us to the next problem. I think that there's even a bigger problem when it comes to YCS events that we need to talk about, is that outside of American YCSs, Konami just does not cover that. Does anybody know what happened at YCS Sydney? If there was no content creators to cover YCS Sydney, would anybody know what happened? What's a YCS Sydney? I'm sick. Konami actually does probably one of the worst jobs at promoting their events. And if you guys want proof for this, I want you guys to go on the website that you're on and try to find YCS Sydney, or try to find an event outside of your country's region. You simply can't. So even if you did have the means to be able to travel to a different event, Konami is not even giving you the information to get to that event or information of the event. It's so backwards. Combined with them not even giving coverage on said event, the fact that they're losing money while making an event and not even using it for promotional advertisement is baffling. I'm not here to knock the leadership in Konami. I'm just here to express that y'all really fumble in the bag here, and it's pretty terrible. I bet that some of their products besides booster boxes and packs, like Kaiba collection case and the Dark Magician case or the pot case, were bad and they didn't get much money. They hoped they would. Good for collectors themselves, but not many from others. That's my opinion. I don't think that you're wrong. I genuinely think that it is incredibly strange for Konami to host a YCS event, one of their most premier events that they have, an event that clearly does not make them any money, and not capitalize on the event by showing as many players as possible to get them more involved into the game. What, Konami, you think we stink or something? I mean, well, Yu-Gi-Oh players do, but you ain't gonna tell the whole world. From what I observed from years of going to Konami events and watching broadcasts, is that Konami does hire an outside company to be able to set the entire rig up, but doesn't do it for YCS's outside of America and Europe. Now, some people might possibly attribute that to Konami running out of money, but what's alarming here is that when we don't get a broadcast, we normally get a blog coverage. We didn't even get that. Now, it might not seem like it, but blog coverages actually do take time, effort, and money. Someone has to sit there, watch the games, and record the information as well as post on their site. And that person does need to be accommodated for compensation, flights, room and board, and etc. That is a significant chunk when it comes to making a blog. And I think that this is the huge part. Either Konami is making a change in philosophy or they are cutting down on the Yu-Gi-Oh card game. It can also be for other reasons, and if you guys have thought of some of the reasons, I really want to hear what you have to say, because this is the card game that we've spent our blood, sweat, and tears into, and we really want to know what's going on. I wonder if America and Latin America produces more money than Europe or Oceania. Well, when you put it into context, I think that America and Europe produce the most money, and that's probably why we do have broadcasts. But when you start to put it in context of this video, it makes you genuinely wonder. We know that the price of Yu-Gi-Oh card packs have went up, the price of venue entry has went up, hell, even Master Duel gyms have went up. It really makes you want to think, Konami, what are you doing with this extra money? Is this a sign of corporate greed, or are you actually using it to cover costs? And if you are using these increases to cover cost, why are we losing things? If anything, signs are starting to point towards Konami on an eventual downfall. And this is probably the biggest reason why I think Yu-Gi-Oh is in shambles. At the time of recording this video, Konami said, for those who are looking to attend the Yu-Gi-Oh World Championship in 2024, we wanted to share that it is an exclusive event, open only to duelists that qualify to compete this year. Stay tuned for info on how you can support the World Championship duelists at a local level. Guys, I can tell you that despite all of the BS that we've had, if you've never been to a YCS, it is a remarkable event. Meeting people, seeing new things, participating in events, it is crazy. But being at Worlds is a whole nother level. I attended the Worlds that was in Las Vegas in 2013, and ironically, it was my very first regional qualifier event or whatever. It was my very first time meeting so many people from across the globe, whether it was Europe, Japan, Australia, it did not matter. It was a life-altering event, especially considering that I got to meet Mai's voice actress, Erica Schroeder, Dan Green, Yusei Fudo, but there were so many amazing people at the event. It was crazy. World Championships are literally the pinnacle of Yu-Gi-Oh! And even if you aren't able to participate in the main event, just being there to be able to meet everybody and have fun is what Yu-Gi-Oh! Was all about. And Konami cancel that. It even sucks more because I've been waiting for an American West Coast event to happen. I've been hoping that they had a West Coast event, and it happens in Washington. Bro, I'm pissed. I've never been to Washington, guys, but I definitely wanted to go check out Lumen Field, see where the Seahawks play, go get rained on, find some baddies out there, get robbed, find out you can't go to jail for having drugs. So I was going to carry drugs even though I don't do drugs. By the way, don't do drugs, kids. And enjoy Seattle. But this is the craziest thing ever. And it also raises the biggest question about what's going on in Yu-Gi-Oh right now. Is Yu-Gi-Oh's profit margin starting to dip, which means Konami should probably fix their game? Is there a change in leadership, which means that there are going to be some huge changes when it comes to playing Yu-Gi-Oh? And then there's also the possibility that Konami could be trying to sell their rights to Yu-Gi-Oh. But let me know, guys, am I overreacting? What do you think about this news? I think that it's definitely something that has put Yu-Gi-Oh in a very interesting spot.